cut. I went down to custom, and custom is just a black, but I need white because I made the mistake of making all my layers, or 2 of my layers, white PNGs, and then one of them was a white background one. So I'm gonna go here. I'm just gonna go up top, and I'm gonna change my color. Now you guys don't have to do this exact same thing. I'm just showing you kind of how I did it, and I'll show you how to keyframe, like I said, within this demo. So I have that. And then I'm going to take my Bickus PNG 1, 2, and 3 and bring them in. So I'm just doing it one at a time. Okay, I drag and drop. And then take PNG 2, drag and drop it in. Oops. And just move it over. And then Bickus PNG 3 right here. Okay. So there's my basic animation. Now these are all showing for like maybe 5 seconds each now, okay, which we don't want that to be. We want these to show for maybe, you know, a fraction of a second. So I'm going down and moving those and just shrinking them up big time. So, oh, like when it does this snapping stuff?
Yeah, it doesn't snap, it just like moves.
Oh, I think my snapping's off, that's why.
How do you do that?
The snapping's on and off here, I think. Actually, it might be here. Oh, there's snapping. Sorry.
That's what I was asking.
There we go. Yeah, I know. I thought it was on yours, so I didn't know what you were talking about, but I guess that's the button. Sorry about that. Okay, so there we go. All right, so I have my 3 images. Okay, they're playing too slow, so I'm going to go back in there, zoom in, and shrink those up even more. All right, so this could be a way to do like an animation within your piece if you wanted to. You could also do this kind of stuff in motion. So let's see what that looks like. I think that looks pretty good. All right, now what I did next was I compounded these 3. So those 3 things, I just want them to be in a group. So I'm going to go new compound clip and whatever, just hit OK. And then I had that thing as a group. So then I just option clicked and duplicated that set of 3 and just... Oops. Have that continue. Okay. So obviously it takes a couple to get, you know, to get to 5 seconds even. All right. So I'm just option clicking and duplicating these. Then, okay. So now when we play this thing, it's all one big group, right? See how it animates? Okay. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to drag select those, just drag over them. I'm going to right-click that whole set and go new compound clip again. And what that does is it makes that whole thing a group. So now I can keyframe that group, okay? And what keyframing means is, you're doing something over time. So it's moving over time, or it's getting dark over time. It's changing color over time. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have it move, okay? But really anything can be done with keyframing. So, so here, I'm going to put my plate at the beginning. Okay, I'm going to make sure I'm clicked on this clip. And I'm going to say, all right, at the beginning, I'm going to turn on my transform tool, and I'm going to create a keyframe there. I'm going to say, okay, at the beginning, this is what I want this thing to look like. Okay, then by the time it gets to 2 seconds in, I can either create another keyframe, or at this point, it's going to auto-create them. So I'm going to make it get slightly bigger, so you don't actually have to click that point. But normally, that plus will create a new keyframe, meaning a new place where you're telling it what to do. For transform, when you do it up in this area, you only need to do it the one time. For other tools, though, you do need to do it every time, and I'll show you where those are at. Okay, so there we go. And then, all right, say I want this to rotate. So I'm going to create a point. I'm going to rotate it slightly, bring it back over, rotate it slightly. So what do you think this is going to look like? It's going to shake a little bit, right? Shaking back and forth. And then maybe at that point, then I'll just have it go off screen. Okay, so let's see what this looks like now. So it gets bigger, it shakes, and then it moves off screen. Okay, that is keyframing. I told it what to do over time. I said, all right, at the beginning, be right here. Okay, get slightly bigger because I created those points. And I'm basically saying at this point, be 100%, be at this point, be 140%. So that's how it knows to get bigger. And then I had it move. Or I'm sorry, like kind of wiggle, and then I had it slide off screen. Now, if I go down here and I show my video animation, you'll be able to see all those points. So you see on that transform line, those are my keyframe points. I can delete them. If I click on them and hit delete, I can move them and adjust them. All right, so if I wanted this to be quicker, I could slide that over, and then this thing would start just by being there, and then it would move up. All right, another thing you could do is you could keyframe this thing to fade in. Okay, so how I would do that, again, I'm going to stay clicked on the clip, but I'm going to go down to compositing. Okay, now this is how you do the other parts of keyframing. You see this little plus button right here? Okay, plus is going to create that point that we talk about. So I'm going to put my play right at the beginning. I'm going to say, all right, at the very beginning, you're going to be 0 opacity, meaning that Bickus is not going to be there at all. But then I'm going to say, all right, by the time it gets to maybe here, I'm going to click that little point again, click another one. So I added one. See that little arrow right there? That will take you back to the first keyframe, and then this right arrow will take you to the second one. All right, so I want to go to the last one, and then I'm going to bump that up. So watch what happens now. Play. Fades in, shows, and then goes off screen, okay? And then at that point, I could, have something else pop up, right? So maybe I want to do an image. I think I can bring PSDs directly in there. Okay, so now I have this image fade in, right? So same thing. All right, I want to have this thing move. So, okay, I create a keyframe. Make it bigger. So you could have this. This function would allow you to pan through stuff.
Hey, Bickus?
Yeah.
Can I borrow this to burn something on?
Yes. Go ahead, take one. How big is the file?
Oh no, it's just those 4 music videos.
How big are they?
They're like the same as the old ones.
Okay.
They should fit fine.
But I mean, how big? Like multiple gigabytes?
They're like the same music videos as before.
Can you tell me how big they are? Go right click and go get info. All right, so then I could have this, pop up and fade in and go through. All right, and that might be how you introduce your artwork. I don't know, depending on what you're thinking.